1, 2. All right, y'all. So we're back. We think that there's an issue with my computer being overloaded, honestly, and yeah, there's so much running on it at the same time. So instead, we're just going to jump in right um, to our message and our worship. So um, enjoy that, and then afterwards, we're going to jump right into the post. So just be ready to jump on Zoom. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Um, and I'm sure this is why we're taking a break. This is why we're going dark, because there's so many issues that we need to figure out and work on. So thanks for being patient with us, and um, yeah, enjoy the service.
Good morning, Mosaic. We're so happy to be here again and to be with you guys in this time of worship. And the first song we're going to sing is called Real Love. And we're just going to, the song that we're used to singing is like the hype, upbeat song that we're all used to, but we're going to tone it down a bit because we want you to realize that in that song, those words matter. God has real love, and that love will continue on forevermore. And it's important in this time right now because in this time, we feel isolated, in this time that we feel scared and confused, in this time that we even may feel rejected, which is what we're going to go into today. And so in this song, it explains that no matter what, God loves you. And let's let it sink in as we sing this song out.
My heart come alive, suddenly brought to life when I met you. Reaching beyond the skies, running deep, stretching wide. Perfect love realized here with you. This love is for real, you will never let go, never let go. It's more than just words, love beyond my control, out of control. This is real love, this is real love. So this is real love, this is real love. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart till the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. This is real love, this is real love. So this is real love, this is real love. In your heart I am found. I want you, I want you. You won't let me down. You've got me, you've got me. And this love is for real, you will never let go, never let go. Now it's more than just words, love beyond my control, out of control. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart to the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real This is real love. This is real love. This is real love. This is real love. Staring into our eyes makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you.
We were broken. And in our brokenness, though lost and desolate, we were not thrown away. Instead, we were gathered up, intentionally collected, bound together by the hand of a master craftsman who, in place of despair, saw hope and joined our broken pieces back together so that in our brokenness, in our restoration, there would be beauty. We are new vessels, no longer broken. We are new creations, meant to reveal the strength of what holds us together. And for what purpose? So that we might be hidden on a shelf gathering dust. No, our new vessels, now held together with something priceless, are meant to be filled up, meant to overflow. So we remember the source of our strength, the beauty in our brokenness, and the purpose of our restoration.
Standing here in your presence, in a grace so relentless, I am won by perfect love, wrapped within the arms of heaven, in a peace that lasts forever, sinking deep in mercy. See, I'm wide awake, drawing close.
thank you. Lord, we're wide awake. We want to lean into your love and do all that you are, Lord. We want to sink deep in your glory and your mercy and your power. Lord, we thank you for being the God of all those things, Lord. And for showing them to us when we don't even deserve it, Lord. We want all of you. We want all that you are, Lord. We worship you. Thank you for everything that you've done and everything you will do, Lord. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
There was a young man named David, probably a teenager at this time. And he's out in the field working at home when a very important man named Samuel arrives at the house. Samuel was a prophet, and prophets are leaders and guides to a king. This prophet Samuel arrives to the house, and he asks for the father of the house and tells him that this day is a very important day, that a son would be chosen to one day become king of Israel. So the dad eagerly grabs most of the boys, and he starts presenting them one by one. The prophet Samuel sits and waits because all he knows is that this is the house that a king would be shown. So he waits and goes son by son, asking the Lord, is this the king? And he gets through the first son, the oldest son, the most important son. Nothing from the Lord. So he goes to the next son, and he goes down the line until every son had been through. And so he looks at the father and he says, is there any more? Well, there's one left, the youngest of the boys, and he's out working the field. And so Samuel says, well, then bring him into the house. And when he brings David into the house, the Lord speaks to Samuel, and he knows that this is the king, the future king of Israel, that this boy will one day be anointed to lead a nation. This is David. You can find the story in 1 Samuel. David, a man whose future comes with giant challenges. One giant by the name of Goliath. We're in a series called Goliath Must Fall. And today, I want to talk to you about the giant of rejection. When I was a kid, I was a giant of a kid. And it was really tough for me because I loved sports. I loved playing frisbee. I loved playing football, baseball, basketball, soccer. It didn't really matter. But the problem was, when you're playing pickup games, nobody wants the big kid. But see, here's the thing. I loved sports, and I was pretty good at sports. I could play any position, even though I was the largest kid on the field. And so when we had to line up to be chosen, I feared that lineup because I knew that I would be later in the picks.
Matt. Whitney. All right, Daniel. Really?
Yeah. And I would tremble at the fear of being rejected by my peers. That they would look at me and they would just see the image before them and go, no, he's not good enough, Tim. I knew that they would look at me compared to some of the other kids, the taller ones, the skinnier ones, the ones that looked faster, and go, No, I want them because they're better than he is. And so I made it my point to be the best person on that field. And I would try and I would train because my goal was the next time we play, I will be picked first. I had a fear of rejection. I remember when I was about 12 years old, my dad left my mom. But he didn't just leave my mom, he left me and my sister. I felt rejected by my own dad. Where I once could go down the hall of my house and have a conversation with my father, I now had to make a phone call and set up an appointment to go see him. I knew that I would only be allotted a certain amount of time if I did get to hang out with my dad. And I knew that on Wednesdays he would pick me up from football practice and we would have dinner sometimes. And I always feared Wednesday because I knew that sometimes I wouldn't get that dinner. Not only did I live in this life and fear of rejection from my dad being in relationship with us, it continued to be in rejection of even time with him. And the truth is, all of us teenagers experience the fear of rejection quite a lot. Rejection from our parents, rejection from school, rejection from our teachers. We give it our best on a paper or an essay or a test, and we fear the rejection even of the grade. We fear the rejection of our friends. Do I want to fit in with this group? And can I call you my best friend? We fear the rejection of what people think about us. So we have to dress a certain way, talk a certain way, just so that I can fit in and be accepted. David prepares to go into a battle with a giant. And when he does this, he faces the king. And this king named Saul looks at David and says, "You're a pipsqueak. You can't go out there and fight Goliath." And once again, David is faced with the temptation of rejection. I recently heard that there are two main motivators for a human when making a decision. Now, when I heard this, I was blown away by the knowledge of it. And so I want you to hear this and pay close attention. We have two main motivators. The first motivator is a phrase called "so that." The second is called "because." The "so that" is, well, I'm going to do this so that I can get this. Like, I want to be fit and skinny, and so that I can be more likable. So I want to be fit and skinny, so I'm going to eat chicken and kale salads. The other way to look at it is the "because" motivator. I'm going to actually eat a plate of nachos because they're delicious. Two main motivators, so that and because. I want to deliver a good message today so that you will like me. I'm going to try and deliver a good message today because I think the Word of God is important. This is how the giant of rejection falls. We stop living for acceptance. A wise man named Lecrae once said, "If you live for people's acceptance, you'll die from their rejection." We live from being accepted. If we want to face the giant of rejection, and we want to take this giant down, don't play the game of "so that." We live the life of "because." We stop living for acceptance, and we live from being accepted. You are accepted by God. Think about it like this. Jesus, when Jesus began his ministry, he said yes to the Father to be sent. This leads to his baptism, to his ministry, to his death, and his resurrection. He didn't do those things so that his Father would love him. He did those things because he loved the world. At the baptism, before he did any of his ministry and actions, raising people from the dead, or before he had healed anybody, before all of that, he was baptized. And at his baptism, the Father shows up and says, "This is my Son in whom I'm well pleased." Jesus lived the reality that because God loved him, he could do all things. You are already accepted. He did not have to earn the Father's acceptance, and neither do you. No level of success will eliminate the giant of rejection. You can have all the money, you can have all the friends, you can have all the fame, but rejection will remain. Accepted and loved people accept and love others. When this giant of rejection falls, our lives will look different. The giant will fall. And when you realize that the battle is already won because you are accepted. When David took down Goliath, he knew that he could do it because the battle was already won. When David took the field to face Goliath, when the king said that he couldn't, when the king looked at him and said, "What are you going to bring to the field that nobody else did?" He said, "My God, the God of Israel." David knew that it wasn't going to be his actions. It wasn't going to be that he would do something so that the Goliath would fall. He didn't do and go out to the field so that he could prove himself to God. He knew that he had already been accepted. And so he went out as one who was with God. And that's how the giant falls. You are accepted. You don't need to fear rejection. The giant falls.
Rose, step left on the neck of the devil and the death that was meant for the friends you know. Step right, get right with the Christ, give your life to the light of the Son who has won. Step left on the neck of the devil and the death that was meant for the friends you love. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. That's all God, no loss, you see me. Look at my cross, found a real me. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. That's all God, no loss, you see me. I know that your love enough, enough. Got my glasses on, I got my stature strong. I see you walking right beside me, tell her pass it on. You just love me through and through until the mask is gone. So when I get to you, I know that's when we're blasting on. Yeah, 10 plus 10 got me moving automatic now. I can hear your voice, get the truth, no static now. Yeah, you love a weapon, ain't never gonna pat it down. Put me and your family on the best come. You're always with me involved. Don't think they know what I know. Yeah, so I just go with the flow. Yeah. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me rich, you see me. Look at my cross, found a real me. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. Just like God, no loss, you see me. I God said to shoot my shot, I might pop 7. Looking at the doubt, I'm like, yeah, I'm missing. Is it growth over cloud? You know, I'm stretching. Show me that I'm found, and I know that you are faithful to the end, nah. Get it in the straight to make amends, nah. Don't let me move aside, cause you're my center. You overflow my cup more than I meant, yeah. You're always with me involved. Don't think they know what I know, yeah. So I just go with the flow, yeah. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. That's all God, no loss, you see me. Ooh, take up my cross, find a real me. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. That's all God, no loss, you see me. I know that you love enough. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. That's all God, no loss, you see me. Ooh, take up my cross, find a real me. 2020, see it clearly. I can't step outside your love, got me real free. Just like God, no loss, you see me. I know that you love enough, you love me, yeah.
Yeah, everybody hurts sometimes, I know that's what they say. But right now it seems this loneliness won't go away, yeah. Can anybody feel this heartache? Is anyone around? Feels like we're running round in circles, we can't catch a breath. We can't enjoy the moment when we always want what's next, yeah. Just when I can't take no more, it's when I hear you say, don't hang your head when you get lonely. No, I'll never leave your side. And don't go thinking you're the only one that can get it right. Yeah, you got my love, 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 love down in your soul. Yeah, you got my love, 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 and I won't let you go. I know there's nowhere I can run, there's nowhere I can hide from the one who gave his life so I could get back mine, yeah. So when you can't take no more, look up and hear him say, don't hang your head